Peace and blessings. I hope you guys are doing well. All praises to the Most High. All praises to our men like King Yahushua Mashiach. For without him, where would we be? I just wanted to get on here because look, y'all, I came across this crazy article. Okay, and I just want to highlight that I'm telling you that these people are terrified. Okay, they are so terrified of Hamashiach. They are so terrified of his people. And if this does not give you the confirmation that you somehow was lacking, or maybe you just needed more confirmation, or you didn't need it at all, but it just confirms once again and validates you as one of his, I promise you this is, and I'm telling you, this is what they do. The truth is scattered. You understand? All we have to do is put it together like a puzzle because it is scattered in pieces. So it's our job when we come across this stuff is, and we have discernment, we are supposed to literally weigh it out with what scripture says. Okay. But I just want to show you this. Like, this is hilarious, right? So I came across this, right? So this was an article that was done by Tim Newcomb, okay? It says Wednesday, July 8th, 2026 at 11 o'clock a.m. is when he published it, okay? And it says a 400-year-old graveyard was designed to keep the dead from coming back to life. Pause. I want you to keep in mind about 400 year. Anytime you see any type of wording about 400 year, you know what they're talking about. They're talking about our people, the 400-year period of our people. Okay? This is what they're talking about. Okay? And this is a clear indication, even though they're not going to mention it, but they're going to have context clues that points to us. Okay? But look at this. Listen to this. It says the grim engineering. I want you guys to see the picture because that picture is very evil. You see how it's red? It looks like a demonic eye, like the evil eye. You understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't look like anything good, right? Nothing. So it says the grim engineering of anti-vampire burials. Okay. Here's what you'll learn when you read this story. A pair of burials from the 17th century Poland. I don't care about it being in Poland. I want you to keep in mind, because remember, its people are scattered. And there's bloodshed of our people everywhere, okay? At every corner of the earth. So it does not matter where their bones are scattered. If they were able to scatter their bones, you understand, put it in an incinerator, turned it to ashes, and spread it across the ocean. It does not matter. I just want you to know that, okay? It says 17th century Poland revealed padlocks that had been placed on the feet of the deceased to keep them from rising. The strategy, often employed when villagers feared vampires would come back to hunt them, was used on small children and women. Now, I want you to understand about vampirism, where they got that from, right? Because here's what they do. The elite loves to spin the narrative and spin. This is just what narcissists do, right? They have to make us wear their garments and carry and bear their crosses. You understand what I'm saying? They have to put their wickedness on us, only to further make it seem like they are the angelic ones. You understand what I'm saying? This is just really what it is. So they're the real vampires. They're the real ones who drinks adrenochrome, who drinks blood, and who commits blood sacrifices. You understand? We're not doing any of that. You understand? But symbolically, they want to mock and mimic the Most High's people, as well as Hamashiach, because they know that he is the only one to be crucified and to die, as well as be resurrected and walk the earth. He's the only one. And soon enough, his people are going to rise and do the same thing. You understand? So they know this. So vampirism also is like, kind of in a way, the way that they're using it, they're calling us vampires, like as if we're bloodsuckers, like stealing their life, like their what's promised to them. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the blood that they've shed to obtain all of this wealth and mayhem on this earth, they feel like, oh, we're bloodthirsty, because they know that that is symbolic to, Yes, we're going to have you motherfuckers' heads when he comes back. Absolutely. He's going to kick ass and take names. He's going to show you who is daddy, who always been daddy. You understand what I'm saying? He is. And that's just facts. So they poke fun at that, thinking that we're bloodthirsty and ready for judgment. And you're going to see some symbolisms in what they use in these burials, just so I can make my point again. So it also points to the fact that, of course, melanin, a lot, like the whole saying, black don't crack, you understand? And if it does, it snaps back, right? So that is relative to the fact that, yeah, it's still youth, still young looking, that type of thing. So I just want you to keep in mind in all this stuff, right? So it says villagers feared vampires would come back to hunt them, was used on small children and women. Remember what they did, okay? To the women and the children now. The men too. I'm just saying though. It says an entire graveyard for the excluded may have housed the most examples. Let me get into it. It may be a bit harsh to call a 17th century burial of a 5 to 7 year old child a vampire burial. Okay. It said it's also potentially accurate. In Poland, there's an entire necropolis featuring anti vampire burial techniques employed during the 17th century, all aimed at keeping dead people, well, dead. Of course, here we go. 400 years ago, folks had plenty of things to worry about other than vampires, but that fear was nevertheless very powerful, especially when they were burying children, young women, and others believed to potentially rise from the dead. You have to think, what would be the reason for them to do this? Because that's an overkill. You understand what I'm saying? That is an overkill. Okay. It is. What would be, because the dead knoweth nothing, and these are supposed to be people back in the 17th century who believed in a Christo. So you understood what the scripture said about the dead knoweth nothing. So what the hell are you scared for? About them rising from the dead? No, you know that they belong to him, and you're afraid that even in death you're not going to be satisfied because they still freaked you out. But see, this is still what the scriptures say. You understand what I'm saying? Like, these people are never going to have any type of peace. Even when they kill you, that's not even satisfaction enough. Because they have to go the extremes to do things like this. Because once again, the fallen wants to try to preempt what the Most High is going to do. And the Most High is not going to be looking like the fool in the end. They are. They're the fool. To avoid this sort of vampiric revival, such bodies were buried with sickles. Listen, here we go. Was buried with sickles. You know what the sickle represents, right? Judgment. Judgment. Why would they be burying them with sickles? Because they know that judgment is coming. On their chests and padlocks on their feet. The reasons, though, could vary. Y'all know the reason why y'all doing that. Stop playing. Now here we go. Look, this is where they go with the social engineering, right? I can't make this stuff up now. This is my name right here. Okay? It's in Poland, but this is still my name. Funny. Haha. It says Darius or Darius Polinsky, right? A professor in the Department of Medieval Period and Early Modern Period at Nicholas Copernicus University. Serves as the lead on an excavation project at a necropolis near Pien, Poland, which started in 2005. He first made international news in 2022 with the discovery of a young woman padlocked in her grave. Then, a few months later, he found a child buried face down just a few feet away, also padlocked. While the media quickly latched on to the vampire aspect of the narrative, the reality may have been a bit more complex. Of course it was, because we know what you guys were doing. Come on now. Come on. You already knew you crucified and killed our Hamashiach, so you know what he said, what he's going to do to us that you kill. You understand what I'm saying? So you guys are trying to preempt this from ever happening again, and you cannot. I don't care if, like I said, if you incinerate the bones and you spread the ashes anywhere or eat the ashes, because you guys like doing things like that. Disgusting things like that, eating the ashes. like as if that somehow is going to erase us from existence. And see, that's why they have to go the extent of doing that, because they already know that ultimately the Most High is going to bring us back in one piece. Don't you know, if the Most High has the ability to dematerialize, don't you know he has the ability to materialize? If he has the ability to materialize and vice versa, he has the ability to dematerialize. So it does not matter what you do. You understand? It does not matter, because he's going to bring us back in one piece. I would prefer to consider these practices as activities protecting the living against the dead, traditionally considered anti-vampire procedures. He said in a statement, the woman could possibly have some physical impairment or mental disorder, listen to this, and was thus mistreated by her neighbors who thought she would scare them after death. Isn't that what they want to label us as? It's crazy. I mean, they call all the Most High's followers crazy and bananas. It might have also been a person died violently and suddenly in strange circumstances, which we know because you guys were doing all manner of wickedness. You were cutting us up, you understand, eating us, feeding us to the hogs. You understand, you was making skin suits out of us. You understand, this is where that practice and that idea of skin suits come into play anyways, with them and Hollywood wearing skin suits. This whole thing came from the torment and torture of the Most High's people when you guys were doing that back in the day. You don't think that we know that today? Yeah. Nothing has changed. You're still the same. Polinsky said, according to Business Insider, sudden death was often considered something people should be afraid of. Children who hadn't been baptized or children who drowned also frightened folks in the 17th century. Why would that frighten you if a child was drowned? Or if they drowned, excuse me, I said it right the first time. Why would that scare you? I know why it would scare you, because you were drowning the Most High's people. You were drowning their children. You were drowning the women. You were drowning the men too. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the only reason why this stuff will scare you. It's because you know what you did. No matter the reason, the tactics were clear. By locking feet with the bulky weighted metal locks of the early modern period, villagers believed they'd be able to keep the dead in their graves. By placing a sickle on the chest and near the neck of the deceased, listen to this, they thought that if the dead person revived and tried to get up, the sickle would slice their neck. Not that a sliced neck would do much harm to someone able to rise from the dead. Hell, you right. It ain't gonna do a damn thing. That's what I just told you. It ain't gonna do nothing. What is a sickle going to do? But that sickle is a reminder of his judgment, clearly, which is the reason why they are burying these people with these sickles. Because they know that ultimately it's going to be judgment coming back for you. Like, that's dumb. Like, whoever thought of that idea, I don't even know what to say. That was just so asinine. The padlock under the foot symbolizes the closing of a stage of life and is meant to protect against the return of the deceased, which was probably feared. Of course it was feared. What would be the reason for you to strap a dead body down and put a sickle on the chest? What would be the reason to do all that? If that's the case, you didn't have to bury them. But you thought you was doing a good deed by giving them a burial. Get the hell out of here. Polinsky said, according to the Daily Mail, by burying people face down, they would bite into the ground and not harm the living. It makes me think about the cankerworms and, all of that, like the scriptures about that. You see how the wicked always, like I said, they love to superimpose who they really wickedly are upon us. And they want us to not only wear their garments as well as carry and bear their crosses, but they want us also to taste the judgment that they have tasted in the past and is going to taste in the future when they will be obliterated. Other strategies included cutting off the deceased's head or legs, smashing them with stones, or burning the body. Of course, this is what they do. This is where the idea of burning or removing the head from a so-called vampire in their movies, or staking them in the heart, or burning them somehow will get rid of them. And and make them never return back. You understand? This is where these ideas come from. It's psychotic, really, if you ask me. The necropolis, which has over 100 sets of remains, contains at least 30 burials that show some technique considered to be anti-vampire. The site has obvious outsider vibes, with villagers burying those they may have feared in life, death, or both. Isn't this some shit? The woman with the triangular padlock wasn't a complete outcast, though. According to CBS, she was buried with a silk headdress woven with thread made of precious metal, clearly a symbol of elevated status. As such, it may have been the cause of her death that troubled others enough to bury her with those known to be feared. You know, this kind of reminds me of the look, I'm saying, the aesthetic look of that vampire cult classic, Queen of the Damned. Remember where they put Aaliyah in that headdress piece, Akasha, character that she played, which was, you know, she's supposed to be Queen of the Damned. Like, this is what that reminds me of when they're explaining this. And notice that that was a vampire movie, right? Of course. As such, it may have been the cause of her death that troubled others enough to bury her with those known to be feared. Matteo Borini, a forensic anthropology lecturer at Liverpool, listen, John Moores University. I didn't make it up. There's the name John. And then you know the name Moores, right? These are key indications on who they're talking about. They still never disclosed. Still never disclosed the identity of these people. Still never disclosed it. Told Business Insider that hundreds of years ago, people often attributed pandemics or quickly spreaded diseases to vampires. Plagues. That's just the only thing I could think of. These undead creatures were thought to hunt down family members first and then move on to the neighbors, matching the likely spread of pattern of contagious diseases. So this also reminds me of like permafrost as well, you know, and it's just interesting to me that they're attributing this with pandemic. So it's funny that they're bringing up the whole pandemic thing, and then we just had one. So you saw what they were doing with those bodies as well. You get what I'm saying? It's just funny. No matter the true cause of death or how outlandish the panic over vampires was, the fear was real. So were the sickles and the padlocks. I know they were. Because y'all scared. Y'all know what's coming. I'm telling you, y'all ain't got nothing to worry about. All we gotta do is just sit back and wait. And here's what I'm saying. Even if you taste death, trust and believe. Have that faith that he gonna resurrect you, because he is. It does not matter, oh, if they cremate you, how he's gonna resurrect you. Come on now, he knows how to. And I'm gonna tell you a quick little story before I close. You can go and look this up. Remember, it was a story about this guy. He was supposedly African, right? And the government found out that he had all of these spiritual gifts, these powers. And it was almost as if like he had the ability to resurrect, to come back, right? Anytime that they tried to kill him. And the only thing that I can think of, and I'm pretty sure that you guys will be able to gauge from reading it, or if you have, you understand that that had to be a Holy Spirit of the Most High. That had to be one of his angels, because that was the only way that he can materialize after they had, got rid of him. And they tried to kill him so many times, and he kept coming back. And then they took his body parts and they scattered them all across the four corners of the earth. And then he still ended up coming back. They found out that all the boxes that they put his body parts in and scattered, that once they retrieved the box, the contents were no longer in the box. And he materialized before them. And he told them, where I come from, you'll never know, you'll never be able to get there. And he let it be known, like, who he worships, that he is of the Most High, in so many words. So I just want you guys to understand this. If the Most High gives these abilities to his holy angels, you understand what I'm saying? Just imagine what you will be unlike, what you would be like unto them. You understand what I'm saying? So it does not matter if you're cremated. I don't care if your family decides to cremate you. Don't be afraid of that. Because at the end of the day, like I said, if they cremate you and spread your ashes, eat them, do whatever nasty things that they do, it still's not going to stop the Most High from bringing you back in one piece. It does not matter. And that's the thing that's going to freak them the hell out. Because they're attempting to preempt the resurrection of the Most High's people, which is the first resurrection. And that's not going to happen. It's going to happen, actually. And he is coming back. He is. He's on his way back now. You understand me? And it's any day. So when his people rise, you understand what I'm saying? Some from graves, and then some he's going to materialize because y'all didn't thrown them in the oceans. That's the reason why it has to be droughts. It'll be easy for their bones to come back. You understand what I'm saying? And for him to resurrect them. It'll be a lot easier that way too. Even though they want to get rid of them. Yeah. So that's all I have to say. This was an interesting article that I came across. And I just was like, wow, like you guys are terrified. As you should. You should. Like, I'm not going to try to make it easy on you and say that, oh, everything's going to be okay. No, it isn't. Those are going to be the same faces that you smiled at, you scoffed at, you battered and butchered, you skinned, you raped, you molested, you beaten, and you thought that you was going to just erase them off the face of the earth, but you can't erase them from your memory, which is why you guys will never have peace. Mentally, we already know that you guys are the ones who's dealing with a lot of the mental illnesses, and that's brought on from you stealing life force, killing people. It was never meant for a human to house demons and for them to be doing that. And that's just facts. But you're not going to stop, are you? No. That's the reason why when he comes with his sickle, oh, we gonna see. Because I'm telling you, you can't stop his prick. I'm out.